The disabled tyrant's beloved pet fish. Transmigration. Chapter 43. The emperor summoned Jing Wang once again into the imperial palace. In the imperial edict, it clearly stated that Jing Wang should bring fish. Li Yu didn't know the individual arrangements that the third prince and Jing Wang had made. Because fish was included in the imperial edict this time, he felt somewhat elated inside. He very cooperatively jumped on top of the crystal bottle to allow Jing Wang to put him inside. Jing Wang's face color was somewhat dim, but it was definite not towards the fish because Jing Wang still extremely gently petted fish on the head. Li Yu remembered that the same hand also encircled fish into Jing Wang's embrace and taught fish how to write. Suddenly feeling embarrassed, Li Yu scooted away. However, not long afterwards, his fish instincts took over and he started to beg to be petted again. He can tell that Jing Wang's mood wasn't very good. Although he didn't know the reason for it, he hoped that Jing Wang's mood could turn for the better. Xiao Yu, who was actively begging for strokes, finally earned a smile from Jing Wang. After petting the fish, Jing Wang brought the fish to the imperial palace as the imperial edict commanded. Outside of Ganking Palace, Luo Gonggong welcomed them personally. Upon entering the palace, he saw that the emperor was already sitting on his dragon chair up on the dais. There were also some people in official robes, but what was strange was that the third prince and sixth prince were also present. Li Yu couldn't help but feel puzzled. Last time when a palace caught on fire, the third prince and sixth prince entered the palace specifically to check up on the emperor's well-being. What were these two people doing here this time? The third prince was slightly malicious while the sixth prince was secretly crafty. The combination of these two must not be treated lightly. Moreover, as soon as Jing Wang brought fish and entered the main hall, the two princes' gazes immediately shot over to him, making fish somewhat nervous. Therefore, from time to time, Li Yu glanced over at these two princes. Upon seeing Jing Wang's arrival, the emperor smiled and said, "Tianqi, you came just in time. Your fish grew gold scales, so I ordered the astronomy department for a divination." "So, it's for this." Li Yu nodded to himself. The emperor's summon was because of the auspicious sign matter. The emperor's words were not enough to convince the common people whether a fish like him was really an auspicious sign. It would be like the emperor creating a good luck charm for himself. Spreading this outside based on that alone wouldn't be too proper. However, if it was something that the astronomy department calculated out using divination, it would count as genuine. The emperor just finished talking when a long-faced official made a noise in acknowledgement and stepped forth. Reciting a series of words that Li Yu couldn't understand, he finally said, "Congratulations, Your Majesty. Great news. For a fish to grow gold scales, it is indeed a rare auspicious sign." This official also looked at the state of the constellations recently. The emperor's star has been shining brilliantly, ascending slowly. This auspicious sign indicates that our dynasty is prosperous and peaceful with favorable weather for good harvest, which is beneficial to our dynasty and to Your Majesty. This official recited phrases after phrases, basically praising the fish. The little carp couldn't help but raise its tail. He already guessed before that people who did divinations were always very astute and definitely wouldn't go against the emperor's wishes. His label as an auspicious sign was probably all set. The shadow that the emperor had in his heart towards the big fire in Zongqi Palace had disappeared. He nodded his head with a smile, "Very good." Zhen also thought this to be true. The official from the astronomy department received a huge reward and gave thanks in satisfaction. "Imperial Father, this. Is that it?" The third prince waited for a long time but didn't get the conclusion he was expecting. Shouldn't the person from the astronomy department say that for a fish to grow gold scales, it was a sign that it will transform into a dragon? Why was the person he placed inside the astronomy department completely useless? The emperor got curious and said, "This is all? What else can there be? Hearing from your tone, should there be something else? No. This is not what this imperial son mean." The third prince realized that an issue might have raised up somewhere. Unwilling to accept that this chance would go to waste, he stubbornly said, "Imperial father, this imperial son was not familiar with how the astronomy department operates. Is it just one person doing the divinations or are different people working together? If it's only one person, can an omission be possible?" Mu Tianming thought that perhaps his subordinate didn't get picked to meet the emperor, so he just needed to switch the official. The person from the astronomy department, who was congratulating the emperor just now, was the head diviner, Sun Shimiao. Head diviner Sun said with a smile, "The third prince's words were quite excessive. To divinate important matters for His Majesty and for this dynasty, the answer that I provide is deduced from a collaborative effort from everyone in the astronomy department. If your highness doesn't trust this humble official's words, another diviner from the astronomy department could come forth, but the answer will still be the same." Liu was shocked by what the third prince was asking. Why would he ask for another diviner? He has a feeling the third prince was up to no good. Just as his fish body shook in shock, Jing Wang, who was sitting beside the crystal vase, stroked his back casually as he was trying to comfort him and made him feel at ease. Of course, Liu would listen to his tyrant master. What was the third prince? He was just a cannon fodder. Also, Jing Wang had the protagonist halo and would be the next emperor. He already managed to hug his master's big thighs. What else was there to be worried about? To be able to work inside the astronomy department, one had to have some skills. Although Sun Shimiao's official rank wasn't high, he still had quite some weight in front of the emperor. The third prince doubted head diviner Sun without reason, however head diviner Sun responded quite magnanimously. The emperor trusted Sun Shimiao. Therefore, he only felt that the third prince was being immature. The emperor therefore reprimanded sternly, "Tianming, since you don't understand how the astronomy department works, then stop criticizing randomly." Having been scolded, the third prince lowered his head and gave the sixth prince a glance. Mu Tianxiao understood and actively stepped forth to say, "Imperial father, it's not that imperial elder brother is speaking randomly. Rather, it's because imperial elder brother and this imperial son heard a children's folk song being sung amongst the common people, which seemed to contradict with the words of the astronomy department. Third imperial brother and this imperial son were afraid that a misunderstanding might happen, so we specifically invited a few seasoned Buddhist monks to ask them to take a look as well." Hearing the words children's folk song, the emperor's heart skipped a beat. He turned to stare at the sixth prince and asked, "What kind of folk song?" The actual words of the sentences are unbearable, so this imperial son doesn't dare to recite it. "Please look it over instead, imperial father." The sixth prince pulled out a previously prepared piece of paper and handed it over for the head steward Luo Ruisheng to present to the emperor. After the emperor received the paper, he carefully read it. Although his complexion didn't change, Liu already felt the surrounding atmosphere turn cold. He thought, what's written on the paper? Why would it make the emperor so unhappy? Was it some kind of slanderous prophecy similar to in the third generation of the Tang dynasty, a woman will be the Wu emperor? After the emperor finished reading it, he coolly indicated to head steward Luo to give the paper to Jing Wang. The paper landed in Jing Wang's hands. Jing Wang swiftly opened it for a look. He read very quickly. Because ancient writing was hard to understand, Liu only managed to catch a glimpse, but what was written was something like gold scales aren't actually objects in a pond. Placed in the sky, it will turn into a dragon. Liu. Even though Liu didn't understand ancient words very well, he understood the sentence. This was a scheme to defame fish. Not only was it causing trouble for fish, it secretly hinted at Jing Wang's name. On the surface, it said that fish can turn into a dragon. But actually, wasn't it pointing out that Jing Wang might ascend the throne? Although Jing Wang would really ascend the throne in the end, to use folk songs to pass this information at this point, were they afraid that the emperor wouldn't set his sights on Jing Wang? The emperor was the ruler of a nation after all. Even if he felt pity towards Jing Wang, he still wouldn't bear this kind of instigation. Tianqi, what do you think? The emperor calmly asked Jing Wang. No one knew what the emperor was thinking at this moment. Mu Tianming and Mu Tianxiao only hoped that the emperor would grow to fear and be cautious against Jing Wang. However, after Jing Wang learned of the sixth prince's malicious plan, he ordered people to secretly follow the sixth prince. He accidentally discovered that the sixth prince ordered people to teach children of the commoners this folk song. Therefore, Jing Wang was even prepared for this folk song. Jing Wang calmly gave Wang Shi a glance. Wang Gonggong stepped forth and spoke for his master, "Your Majesty, this is complete nonsense." His Highness is also very baffled why this kind of folk song would spread amongst the common people and deliberately create a discord within the imperial family. His Highness implores Your Majesty to investigate this thoroughly and see when this folk song started spreading. If it's only in the last few days. Jing Wang's fish only changed scales recently after all. The emperor only discovered this recently. It was likely someone did it purposely to target Jing Wang. The emperor pondered momentarily and nodded his head in approval. Jing Wang's words are correct. Zhen also planned to do this. The emperor didn't actually throw a temper at Jing Wang because of the folk song. Instead, he ordered the imperial guards to investigate when did this folk song started being sung by the commoner, as well as the people who spread it first. Seeing his traps towards Jing Wang fail continuously, the third prince gave the sixth prince an urgent look. The sixth prince looked outwardly unperturbed but in reality, he was also starting to sweat. This was a scheme that the sixth prince came up with, but contrary to what he expected, the emperor didn't actually pay attention to the folk song itself. Not to mention, the earliest spread of the song was easy to investigate and wouldn't be able to fool anyone. At this time, the seasoned monks that the sixth prince have invited also arrived. Seeing the row of monks, Li Yu, who had been observing all this time, suddenly remembered something. There was also an event that occurred in the book that mentioned seasoned monks. Because of his little butterfly effect, the plotline of the original novel has already been messed up. Originally, when the sixth prince and Jing Wang struggled for the throne, he ordered monks to start rumors in front of the emperor to slander Jing Wang. However, in the book, the rumor created was a naturally born mute like Jing Wang was inauspicious. How did it become gold scales aren't actually objects in a pond? Placed in the sky, it'll turn into a dragon? Of course it was absolute nonsense. It wasn't even exceptionally rare for a fish to have gold scales. For example, all koi basically have gold scales. The emperor himself raised many koi in his lotus pond. So how could a food ingredient fish transform into a dragon? However, this reason couldn't be used to persuade the emperor. Li Yu secretly thought, since this was the same plan that the sixth prince came up with, different broth but the same old medicine, would the flaw mentioned in the novel be the same here? In the original novel, the sixth prince was in too much of a hurry to defame Jing Wang and couldn't find any trustworthy seasoned monks quick enough. Moreover, reputable monks weren't stupid and wouldn't get involved in political dispute between the princes. Therefore, the monks that the sixth prince found were all just his loyal subordinates in disguise. They didn't even shave their head bald for too long. Nor did they have the 6 marks of oath on their heads. Thinking this, Li Yu stared unblinkingly at the monk at the forefront, searching for some kind of clue. Because he was staring very intently, he slowly discovered that the monk would occasionally rub his neck against his neck collar. This movement was somewhat odd. Li Yu suddenly realized it. Shaving in a hurry often left broken pieces of short hair behind. This monk was in discomfort from being poked by those short hairs. From this he determined that this time the sixth prince was also using fake monks. As long as these fake monks could be exposed in front of the emperor, no matter what these people said, the emperor wouldn't believe them. Thinking it through, Li Yu naturally planned to splash Jing Wang with some water and make them go outside again. However, the sixth prince didn't give Jing Wang any chance to breathe. He rushed to stand in front of the emperor, saying, "Imperial father, the investigation of the folk song will take some time and might not come up with anything. All of these people this imperial son invited are senior monks. Why not let them examine fifth brother's fish? Then we'd immediately know." Li Yu. Although the emperor ordered the imperial guards to investigate, he still had doubts towards Jing Wang in his heart. Thinking that it wouldn't matter to permit the monks to have a look, he nodded and allowed it. But the emperor didn't actually state that Jing Wang have to hand over the fish to the monks. Therefore, Jing Wang held onto the crystal bottle even tighter with his hands. Wang Shi, who understood Jing Wang deeply, gathered his courage and said to the monks, "The masters need not to move. His Highness will hold the crystal bottle for the masters to see." The emperor knew Jing Wang was very careful and concerned towards the fish. The monks could also see the fish this way. Since the emperor was suspecting Jing Wang, he also held a faint hint of guilty conscience. Therefore, he silently acquiesced to Jing Wang's decision. By this time, it was too late for Li Yu to find some other way of letting Jing Wang know. The sixth prince would be the first to object to prolonging the time. Not to mention that these fake monks were right before their eyes. Li Yu couldn't allow these monks to say something related to gold scales transforming into a dragon and continue to drive a wedge between the emperor and Jing Wang. Jing Wang was able to suggest to the emperor to investigate the folk song because this was the first time that the emperor had heard of this kind of rumor. He wouldn't believe in it so easily. However, if the monks also said the same thing, repeated rumors become a fact. How could the emperor trust in Jing Wang then? Li Yu normally was always together with Jing Wang, so he knew best that Jing Wang didn't have any disrespect towards his father at all. The father-son relationship between the two of them already had its challenges. It shouldn't have to suffer this kind of suspicion and doubt as well. The top priority was still to expose these fake monks right in front of everyone. If these people managed to leave the imperial palace, it would be hard to find them afterwards. There was a chance to do it, he would just have to take a risk. As Jing Wang brought fish closer to the head monk and allowed the monk to see fish inside the crystal bottle, Li Yu slammed violently towards the direction of the monk. The strength of his fish body had increased by several times after completing his missions. Li Yu bumped the crystal bottle with all of his strength. With a crack, a big hole appeared on the crystal bottle from the impact. The little carp instantly flew out towards the head monk. How could the monk have thought the fish would escape out of the crystal bottle? For a split second, he was shocked. Subconsciously, he raised his arm to block the fish. However, it was too late. The little carp already jumped past the other's hand, landing on this person's shoulder. When the system gave a notification at this time, it was in the middle of a loud commotion. Li Yu didn't have time to bother checking which mission updated. Aiming carefully and with tail raised in waiting, as soon as he jumped onto the monk's shoulder, he swung his tail horizontally outward. He originally intended to knock the monk's hat off, believing that if this happened, Jing Wang would figure out that these monks were fake. In order to expose these people, he already disregarded the mission and ignored how outrageous it was to attack a monk's hat right in front of the emperor. He didn't have much time to think. He only instinctively thought about protecting Jing Wang by proving that this was all a scheme by the sixth prince to harm Jing Wang. The monk was so scared by this extremely ferocious behaving fish that his mouth opened wide. When his monk's hat hit the floor, he completely forgot about covering his head. "Imperial father!" The third prince and sixth prince yelled loudly in unison. The two of them both saw this fish breaking out somehow and even knocking off the monk's hat. Jing Wang was paying attention to Xiao Yu this entire time. Ever since he got closer to the monk, the carp Yao started to pace agitatedly inside the crystal bottle. He felt that it was extremely likely there was something wrong with the monk. The carp Yao seemed to want to tell him something important. He already envisioned all sorts of plans, but he never thought that the Carpio would disregard its personal safety and directly jump on the monk instead. Seeing the Carpio had already broke out from the bottle, Jing Wang couldn't allow any mishap to happen to this fish and needed to deal with the aftermath for this fish. A large portion of the broken pieces of the crystal bottle still remained by his hand. Jing Wang focused his thoughts. While everyone was still looking at the fish, he resolutely squeezed the broken pieces in his hand, allowing the fragments to cut his own hand, drawing blood. "Your Highness!" Wang Shi cried out in alarm by Jing Wang's side. Jing Wang waved his hand. They didn't have the time, so he could only do this. Wang Shi stomped his feet. Deliberating for a moment between helping Jing Wang wrap his wound and protecting Master Xiaoyu. He ultimately chose Master Xiaoyu because Jing Wang's expression told him to do so. He couldn't go against Jing Wang's wishes. After the little carp knocked down the monk's hat, he fell to the floor and flopped around. Wang Shi hastily placed the fish into a spare crystal bottle. Once the fish was secured, Jing Wang focused on finding the issue with the monk. He discovered that the monk, who had his hat knocked off just now, revealed a completely bald and shiny head with nothing on it at all. Jing Wang quickly realized, so this was a fake monk. That's what Xiaoyu wanted to let him know. "Tianqi, what happened just now?" "Your hand." One moment, the emperor saw the fish somehow flew towards the monk. The next moment, he saw Jing Wang's hand was injured. Wang Shi anxiously wanted to speak for his master, however, Jing Wang didn't allow him. Instead, he used his blood and wrote directly on Wang Shi's clothes. "Imperial Father, please inspect thoroughly." This imperial son discovered the monks to be fake. They didn't actually take the oath. In a moment of urgency, this imperial son broke the crystal bottle forcibly to expose this deceit. The emperor. Ever since the emperor heard the folk song, he's been slightly perturbed. At this moment, as he looked at the blood stain repeatedly landing on the front of Wang Shi's clothes, and then looked at the broken crystal fragments on the floor, his heart continued to twist and turn. In utter panic, the monk put on his hat again. However, it was already too late. The emperor ordered the guards to restrain the monk firmly and examine his head. After taking off the monk's hat for a look, it was indeed true that he did not take the oaths. The emperor understood it all. He saw the fish flew out, but actually, it was Jing Wang who hastily broke the crystal bottle by squeezing it. Jing Wang couldn't speak, so he was unable to promptly explain himself clearly. He could only use this kind of method to expose these fake monks. Because of his habit as an emperor, he didn't think clearly and started to suspect Jing Wang. He was almost tricked by this group of fake monks. Jing Wang's hand bled unceasingly, with his face turning pale. The emperor regretted everything deeply. Patting Jing Wang's shoulder, he said gently, "Tianqi, good child. You've suffered. Quickly go let the imperial physicians take a look at that." The emperor ordered Luo Ruisheng and Wang Shi to both support Jing Wang and help him to the side hall to wait for the imperial physicians. The third prince, the sixth prince and the fake monks, who were kowtowing non-stop, remained behind to face the absolutely infuriated emperor. End chapter. The disabled tyrant's beloved pet fish. Transmigration. Chapter 44. Jing Wang's hand was injured. The imperial physicians rushed over like they had fire on their heels in order to examine Jing Wang's wound. Yet Jing Wang covered up his wound and used his eyes to gesture at Wang Shi. Then he glanced at the crystal bottle that Wang Shi brought over. He was only cut by the fragments of the crystal bottle. Xiaoyu was the first to slam into the crystal bottle and break it. The fish needed to be examined for any issues first. Gnashing his teeth, Wang Shi resigned himself to asking a physician to check the fish first. The rest of the physicians all remained by Jing Wang's side. Seeing this, Jing Wang finally allowed the imperial physicians to examine and treat him. The physician examining the fish very quickly reported that the fish wasn't injured. Jing Wang nodded his head. His own injury, however, can't be treated so easily. The imperial physicians needed to first pull out the fragments that cut into his skin. This by itself took about the same time as a stick of incense to burn. After cleaning the cuts well, the wound needed to be washed and covered with a healing ointment. The bloody gauzes had to be changed continuously. Wang Shi watched with extreme heartache. Wang Shi couldn't resist asking, "Your Highness, does it still hurt? Do you want this old servant to blow on it for you?" Jing Wang actually didn't feel much pain by now. Hearing Wang Shi's nagging, his face almost turned black. The imperial physicians finished treating Jing Wang's injury and then went to report to the emperor. Before they left, they instructed Jing Wang that he should prevent the wound from getting wet. Eyebrows furrowed, Wang Shi cautiously moved the crystal bottle far away, afraid that His Highness would go play with the fish soon afterwards. Exasperated, Jing Wang had to indicate for Wang Shi to move the bottle closer. Although Wang Shi listened, he still placed the crystal bottle at a location that Jing Wang couldn't reach. Jing Wang made him go outside and stand guard. Wang Shi walked out, looking back 3 times with every step. Not long after Wang Shi left, Jing Wang got up from the couch and walked to the side of the table that the crystal bottle was on. The fish inside the bottle had already changed from the brazen fish who broke out just now to currently looking at him very pitifully. The little carp made an impressive show of its abilities, attacking the fake monk's hat and then falling to the floor. Then, it was taken away by Wang Shi. The new fish scales were really very powerful. Even after all this ruckus, the fish was still lively and vigorous. It could even jump over a few more monks, no problems. After causing such chaos, Li Yu still felt a bit like he wanted to do more. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to slap the 3rd prince and the 6th prince as well. However, these 2 dared to bring fake monks in front of the emperor would definitely make them regret it. Li Yu was just feeling pleased with himself. Unexpectedly, he suddenly heard Wang Shi's alarmed shout. When Li Yu turned his head and discovered Jing Wang was injured, the fish was also dumbfounded. Back then, he never imagined Jing Wang would be injured. Even if he broke the crystal bottle with reckless abandon, the broken pieces should not have fell towards Jing Wang's direction. Jing Wang should have only received a shock at most but not injury. Furthermore, this time he really caused quite a disturbance right in front of the emperor. Before, when he slapped Imperial Consort Xu, it wasn't completely in front of His Majesty. This time, the emperor saw everything, however, he didn't punish Li Yu. This was also very strange. Soon, Li Yu realized from the emperor's furious scolding that Jing Wang had helped to cover up his abrupt actions. Li Yu had focused single-mindedly on exposing the fake monks and jumped over without any regard for the consequences, completely not caring if he'd put himself on the spot, which would have happened had it not for Jing Wang deliberately cutting his hand and claiming that the flying fish attack was something he had planned. That way the fish would be safe, but as for Jing Wang himself, Li Yu safely remained inside the crystal bottle, staring at Jing Wang from afar. He didn't know how serious Jing Wang's injury was. He only knew that the emperor's face was all twisted and the imperial physicians all rushed over like a swarm of bees to check on Jing Wang. Despite all this, Jing Wang still insisted that a physician come check him first. Actually, it wasn't necessary. He was very well. What's there to check fish for? However, he still felt very touched by Jing Wang's protectiveness over him, and he couldn't even say anything to Jing Wang about it. The crystal bottle separated him from the group of people. From the perspective of a fish, he could only see the back views of the imperial physicians running around. Li Yu couldn't break through this crystal bottle again and cause more trouble for Jing Wang. Therefore, he could only stick to the wall of the crystal bottle, looking over frequently. At this moment, he felt very remorseful that he acted without considering the consequences. If only Jing Wang didn't get injured. It was inconvenient to move with just one hand. Jing Wang used his uninjured hand to touch the bottle, straining to open the cover. The little carp immediately swam to the opening of the bottle. Because he flipped over the bottle with his weight before, fish wanted to move closer but didn't dare to. He only raised his head and looked at Jing Wang, flatteringly wagging his tail. Jing Wang stuck his uninjured hand into the water. The pitiful troublemaker fish immediately swam over to rub against his fingers. Although the imperial physician and Wang Shi both said that the fish was fine, Jing Wang can feel this carpiao was a bit dispirited. Perhaps this fish was frightened out of its wits and now feeling spiritless. Jing Wang stroked it on the head. Because of the blood loss, Jing Wang felt a bit tired. After confirming that fish was fine, he went back to the bed and leaned over to rest of a while. Liu was very worried about his injury. He and Jing Wang was the only ones in the side chamber. It was very inconvenient for a fish to move around and it couldn't talk. Seeing that Jing Wang was lying down with his back to him, Liu immediately used his transformation skill. Since now he had an identity as a member of the Jing estate, Jing Wang felt bad that he didn't have any possessions and bestowed him with many old, unworn clothes. Liu wasn't too familiar with this kind of clothing. Picking two that he liked the most and placing them into his portable storage space so that in the future, he no longer had to worry about having no clothes and needing to run around naked. Liu quickly changed into one of those clothes and came to the bed, lowering his head to look at Jing Wang's hand. The imperial physicians wrapped it well. Jing Wang's hand was covered by a heavy layer of bandages. Yet in this short time, blood was already seeping out of them. Liu felt very bad, biting his own lips tightly. Seeing that Jing Wang was only laying on his side without being covered by blankets, Liu was afraid that he would get cold since he was injured. He hastily pulled over a light blanket to place over Jing Wang, doing his best to look after him. Jing Wang was secretly anticipating this fish for a long time. In order to trick the fish into changing forms, he even purposely feigned sleep. When Liu leaned close, he immediately turned around and looked at fish with a smile. Liu suppressed the tears from gushing out of his eyes as he said in embarrassment, "Your Highness, did I wake you up? Does your wound still hurt?" Liu already felt very distressed. He thought that the other definitely felt even more pained. The ointment that the imperial physicians used had a pain-relieving effect. Jing Wang was no longer feeling the pain. However, upon seeing Xiao Yu's eyes were full of worry, Jing Wang hesitated for a moment and nodded his head, instead. Jing Wang thought, if he were in pain, would Xiao Yu also be like Wang Shi and volunteer to blow on it for him? There's no need for Wang Shi to blow on it, but if it were Xiao Yu, it can be considered. Jing Wang waited for Xiao Yu to ask. However, Xiao Yu didn't think like this at all. Because Jing Wang was still hurting, Liu hopped up and ran over to grab the jade box that held desserts and brought it over, pulling out a few peach blossom cookies. If your highness is still in pain, then eat something sweet. With good food, your injury won't hurt anymore. The Carpiao forced a smile on his face. Jing Wang. Jing Wang coughed lightly. If he wouldn't blow on his wound, feeding was fine as well. However, he injured his right hand. Moving was inconvenient. Liu finally understood and said, "Let me help you." He pulled out a cookie and broke it into a size that can be easily swallowed. Royalty in ancient times wouldn't casually eat food from anyone's hand. Liu swiftly swallowed a piece himself first, then declared, "This is safe for you to eat. It's not poisoned. It tastes fine to me. Your Highness, please feel at ease." Jing Wang. Jing Wang trusted him anyway and felt this was superfluous. However, there's no need to mention it at this moment. Liu picked up the remaining peach blossom cookie and held it next to Jing Wang's lips. He stared as the other slowly ate 2 pieces and couldn't help but think that before Master fed fish this way, now fish was feeding Master. Liu's eyes were still hot. He was able to suppress his tears at the beginning, but when he got distracted, 2 drops of tears fell uncontrollably. Jing Wang. Liu. Liu hastily rubbed his reddened eyes. Jing Wang didn't know he was fish. If he suddenly cried like his, it might scare the other man. Li Yu quickly said, "I'm sorry, Your Highness. Some dust got into my eyes." These words were easy to say, but his emotions were like a flood that breached the dam. Once it broke through a weakened area, it couldn't be held back. Just like his tears that he couldn't stop from falling. Li Yu actually didn't usually cry much. Nevertheless, he covered his face with his hands, shoulders shaking for a moment. When he finally let everything out and calmed down, his entire face was wet. Li Yu, who felt like he just embarrassed himself to death. Sob, sob, sob. He originally wanted to take care of his master, but he ended up making a fool of himself. With his eyelids faintly swollen, Li Yu said with a hoarse voice, "I'm sorry, Your Highness. I got a little scared when I saw that Your Highness was injured." Faced with this extremely clumsy lie, Jing Wang paused for a moment and then patted Li Yu's hand with a smile. Unfortunately, his hand was all wrapped up and he couldn't hold a brush. So, he couldn't write what he wanted to say. Seeing Xiao Yu shed tears made him felt unhappy as well. Ultimately, it was his powerlessness that made Xiao Yu worry. Jing Wang pulled over a clean towel next to the pillow and silently handed it to Li Yu. Li Yu wiped his face with the towel. Afterwards, he gave a smile and asked, "Are you still in pain, Your Highness?" Jing Wang. His Highness grumbled in his heart, "Even if I'm in pain, you won't blow on it anyways." Afraid Xiao Yu would worry some more, Jing Wang changed to shaking his head this time. Li Yu said, "Then you should sleep a little longer. Sleeping will help your injury get better faster." Really? Jing Wang never heard this before. Still, he did what Li Yu said and laid down. Li Yu sat right by the couch. After a while, he thought of something and wanted to get up. Jing Wang immediately grabbed his arm. Li Yu said awkwardly, "Your Highness, I'm just going to pour a cup of water for you." Li Yu saw Jing Wang's lips looking dry and thought the other might need some water to moisten his throat. Jing Wang shook his head, refusing the drink, so Li Yu couldn't do anything about it and could only give up his plan. Because Jing Wang was holding his arm, Li Yu couldn't walk away. Jing Wang needed to sleep, so he could only watch from the side. However, it wasn't like sitting at the bedside was tiring or anything. Jing Wang quietly laid down for a while. Then his closed eyes opened again and looked with Li Yu with a deep gaze full of emotions. Recently, Jing Wang had been looking at him with such gaze. It was very different from when he looked at the third prince, the sixth prince, or even Wang Gong. Li Yu always seemed to catch a faint hint of a smile from it. "Does Your Highness need anything else?" Li Yu asked with concern, not even noticing how exceptionally gentle his own tone was. Jing Wang pressed his lips together. His Highness wanted intimacy, but this fish wasn't self-aware at all. He had no choice but to resort to additional tactics. Therefore, the warm and snug Jing Wang, who was bundled up by blankets, started to do his best to shiver. "Li Yu, does Your Highness feel cold?" Jing Wang, nod. Li Yu thought that losing blood would make people feel cold. This also applied to the tyrant. However, there were no extra blankets on the bed. Li Yu hastily said, "Please wait for a second, Your Highness. I'll go find another blanket." Li Yu wanted to go find blankets, however, Jing Wang abruptly got up faster than him and pulled him back down on the bed. He patted Li Yu on the shoulder, making him sit down properly. Li Yu didn't understand, so he just followed accordingly. Then, he watched wide-eyed as this large and tall, blanket-wrapped man lay down feebly, head resting on his lap. Li Yu. So, when someone's cold, they just need to sleep on another person's lap to not feel cold anymore. Sounds about right. The human body produced heat. Perhaps this was even more comfortable than being wrapped in another layer of blankets. Before, Li Yu's eyes were hot. Now, it was his face that was burning. Stuttering internally, he convinced himself that Jing Wang got injured because of him. What's wrong if he used his lap as a pillow for a while? Li Yu did his best to ignore the strange feeling on his lap. Jing Wang closed both eyes in satisfaction, the corner of his mouth raising faintly. He did his best to shiver again. "Is your highness still feeling cold?" Li Yu asked carefully. Jing Wang nodded, and nodded again. Li Yu thought that in the end, Jing Wang got injured because of him. So, he hugged Jing Wang in resignation. "How about now?" Li Yu asked. Jing Wang. His highness was freezing to death. He really wanted to have his essence absorbed. End chapter. The disabled tyrant's beloved pet fish. Transmigration. Chapter 45. Ultimately, Jing Wang really did get injured. After getting treatment and resting his head on Li Yu's lap, he sank into a deep sleep. Li Yu shamelessly enjoyed the full view of the tyrant's extremely envious-inducing handsome face. But his back and leg really couldn't handle being a pillow like this for too long. However, he was afraid of waking up the person who finally managed to fall asleep, so Li Yu didn't dare to move. Moreover, tiredness was just a secondary problem. According to his calculations, the duration of his time in human form was almost up. If he gave a live transformation back into a fish right on the bed. Li Yu suddenly had a thought. If he changed into a fish while Jing Wang was using him as a pillow, wouldn't Jing Wang crush him? What if he got squished flat? Li Yu quickly shook his head. He needed to slip away before he changed back. However, Jing Wang was still sleeping. As he was feeling as if he was stuck between a rock and hard place, the door of the side room suddenly opened slightly. Wang Gong stuck half his body inside to look around. What an opportune timing. He was just thinking about being rescued, and here comes the rescuer. Li Yu immediately blinked his eyes frantically at Wang Shi. Wang Shi also saw that there was an additional person inside the side hall. His highness was even laying his head on this person's lap. Wang Gong was stunned briefly and then jogged over. "You are young Master Li?" With a lowered voice, Wang Shi asked quickly. Jing Wang made a lot of efforts to swindle the human form Xiao Yu into the Jing estate. Naturally, he specifically made Wang Shi aware of this matter. However, Jing Wang didn't actually reveal Xiao Yu's real identity. Wang Shi finally figured out clearly that the male concubine from some family was a beautiful misunderstanding. This young man, with the surname Li, was a member of Jing estate now and worked specifically by Jing Wang's side. This was the only information divulged by Jing Wang and nothing else. In addition, Jing Wang didn't permit anyone to investigate this young Master Li and even set down rules. No matter who encountered young Master Li, they had to be respectful and courteous. They have to serve young Master Li as if they were serving him. Regular people normally couldn't enter Jing Wang's room anyways, so it was rare for them to meet with this mysterious young Master Li. However, as the trusted aide, Wang Shi have caught glimpses of young Master Li before. According to his observations, this young Master Li should be staying in his highness's room and his presence was sporadic. Because Jing Wang gave the order, Wang Shi never suspected anything. He only wondered if his highness and this young Master Li had something going on between them. Young Master Li was the person that his highness liked. Wang Gong had a good memory. He remembered seeing young Master Li and his highness physically entangled together several times before. Now that young Master Li was working beside his highness and always entering his room without leaving, his highness even wanted them to serve him carefully. Most likely, it was that kind of relationship. Presently, young Master Li appeared by Jing Wang's side again. Jing Wang was even sleeping on that person's lap. Wang Shi was even more certain of this two people's relationship. However, he didn't reveal anything outwardly. His highness repeatedly instructed that if he met young Master Li, he must not fluster the youth and speak nonsense. He needed to be extremely calm and unperturbed. Wang Shi engraved this to memory and acted as such. Li Yu gave Wang Shi a slight nod. Wang Shi quietly asked about the condition of Jing Wang's injury. Li Yu imparted what he knew. Then Wang Shi made to leave so as to allow the two to continue as they were. However, Li Yu quickly called him. Wang Gong, please wait. I still have important business. Can you lend me some aid? Li Yu pleaded quietly. Wang Shi immediately understood what he meant. Cooperating together, they gently lifted Jing Wang back onto the bed. Li Yu then covered Jing Wang up with the blanket personally. Then, the system started the transformation countdown. Li Yu didn't have time to speak more with Wang Gong. He anxiously rushed towards the door and quickly hid behind a cabinet near the door. He placed the crystal bottle in an area not very far away. Li Yu was quite experienced in changing back to a fish by now. Other than calculating the time well, he also knew how to place the crystal bottle or fish bowl in a place that had cover. When the time limit was reached, he only needed to hide to finish the transformation, then jump into the crystal bottle or fish tank to complete the process. It was the same this time. Li Yu hurriedly turned back into fish and concentrated his strength on the tip of his tail. Since Li Yu found that his stall was strong enough to support his whole fish body for a short while, he simply used his tail as a small skateboard. With a swish, he slid to the front of the crystal bottle and jumped inside of it. Fish completed the series of thrilling movements without Wang Gong noticing anything at all. Letting out a breath of relief, Li Yu started to swim around inside the crystal bottle, extremely pleased with himself. Over there, Wang Shi settled Jing Wang down well. He turned his head to search for young Master Li, however the person had already disappeared. Therefore, Wang Shi concluded that young Master Li must have left again. His Highness didn't allow them to show interest in young Master Li's whereabouts. Of course, Wang Shi listened to His Highness's instruction. However, while passing by the door of the hall, Wang Shi discovered the crystal bottle that was placed on the floor for some unknown reason. Master Xiaoyu was currently wagging its tail at him. With a smile, Wang Shi picked up the crystal bottle with both hands and placed it back in front of the bed. When His Highness woke up, he definitely would want to see the fish first. Inside the side hall of Ganking Palace, Jing Wang was resting. Meanwhile, just a room away, inside the main hall, everyone knelt on the floor. The monks that the sixth prince brought into the palace were fake. The emperor felt that these fake monks and the folk song were both equally suspicious and ordered a thorough investigation. However, investigating the folk song involved interacting with the common people, which would take some time. The fake monks who dared to enter Ganking Palace became the first to be interrogated. These monks were only thugs. Unable to endure torture, they quickly confessed that they were bribed by the third prince. The emperor scolded the third prince, who thought that his position as the crown prince was already secured. The overlooked sixth prince, who had the rare chance to show his face in front of the emperor for once, also got reprimanded severely by the emperor. Ever since he was little, Mu Tianxiao knew very well what to do to make the best of the situation. Seeing the situation turn sour, he immediately knelt down and acknowledged his error and tried to say as sincerely as he could, "Imperial father, this imperial son was wrong." However, this imperial son didn't have any ill intent. I heard the folk song being sung by the common people and felt it was suspicious. This imperial son felt it was his duty to inform your majesty. This imperial son has no idea that these monks were fake either. This foolish son never imagined that people could impersonate monks as well. This imperial son made an error in judgment and promised that in the future, this imperial son won't believe everything that he hears. It was a very crafty move. Mu Tianxiao have been hiding behind Mu Tianming. Furthermore, the monks and the folk song were not arranged using his name but the third prince's name instead. Mu Tianxiao never showed his face to these people either. He was confident that no matter how the emperor investigated, they won't find anything that could be tied up to him. Since the emperor saw through the scheme, acknowledging a mistake wasn't anything to him. In comparison, Mu Tianming reacted a bit slower. Mu Tianxiao had already explained himself earnestly and said everything that needed to be said. Only then did Mu Tianming finally also knelt down. Imperial Father, it wasn't me. I just think there's something wrong with Jing Wang's fish. The third prince was still in the shock of seeing the fish fly out and attack the fake monk's hat. Even though Jing Wang already stated that it was him who discovered the issues with the monk and purposely threw the crystal bottle over, the third prince wasn't very certain that was the case even after carefully thinking about it. Did Jing Wang's hand bleed first or did the fish attack first? It seemed to have been the fish. Mu Tianming felt that this fish was very suspicious. If he let the emperor know about this, then who cares about these monks? Tianming, you still won't admit to your wrongs. With the monks' testimonies, the emperor didn't want to hear any excuses from the third prince at all. The sixth prince had already admitted his mistake and yet the third prince still dared to attempt to mislead him. The emperor was very clear that the sixth prince often followed the third prince and helped the third prince to do things. Although the folk song and the fake monks were both presented by the sixth prince, the monks testified against the third prince. The sixth prince's words also implicated the third prince several times. At the very least, the third prince was definitely behind the sixth prince's actions. The sixth prince was willing to apologize but the third prince wasn't. These completely different attitudes also indicated that the third prince was the main instigator here. The emperor also recalled back then when he first ordered the astronomy department to make the divination for Jing Wang's fish, Mu Tianming ended up jumping out to question the astronomy department and got refuted by head diviner Sun. The folk song and the fake monks that the sixth prince brought out afterwards, weren't these actually also attempts to cast doubts on the results of the astronomy department's divination? The emperor abruptly remembered one thing. A few days ago, he heard from Luo Ruisheng that the third prince went to Jing estate to buy the fish but was thrown out by Jing Wang. The emperor originally looked at this in amusement. However, thinking about it again, didn't that meant that the third prince also believed that Jing Wang's fish was auspicious? That's why he had wanted to buy fish. Why would his attitude change in such a few short days? The folk song and the fake monks, which one wasn't an attempt to use the fish as an excuse to make him, the emperor, suspicious of Jing Wang? But why would the third prince do this? According to his understanding of the third prince, perhaps, it's because he treated Jing Wang's fish as special. Therefore, it made the third prince jealous. The third prince didn't manage to buy the fish from Jing Wang and felt Jing Wang wasn't being tactful. Therefore, he ordered the sixth prince to collaborate with him to pour dirty water on Jing Wang. The emperor had quite a headache. Actually, he's been paying attention to Mu Tianming all this time. In his memories, this son always expressed the opposite view of Mu Tianzhao. But in terms of abilities, Mu Tianming didn't actually match up to Mu Tianzhao. Nevertheless, he still had areas worthy of praise. For a while, the emperor even appreciated the son quite a bit but it never reached the same level as Mu Tianzhao. Ultimately, the emperor had a responsibility in Mu Tianzhao's tragedy because of his premature reveal of the potential crown prince candidate. The second prince was no longer fitting of this role. The emperor felt like he learned from his past mistakes. At least currently, he didn't have any desire to make anyone the crown prince. He thought at least he could endure for a few more years and examine the rest of the princes. He could wait until the young 7th and 8th princes grew up a little more before making his choice. However, even though the emperor didn't have any intent to make anyone crown prince, other people might not thought the same. Before Mu Tianming seemed very humble. Now that there was no one suppressing him from above, his ambition was very quickly exposed. It's not that the emperor didn't know clearly about the things that Mu Tianming was doing in court these last few days. Where did the court officials that had good relations with Mu Tianzhao went to? There was also concubine Qian. She had tried several times to interject at that time when concubine Qiu was being dealt with. These behaviors were alarming but the emperor was still willing to tolerate it. He didn't have many sons who were fully grown after all. Therefore, he didn't actively restrict the third prince. fully grown princes should have their power base and sphere of influence. He thought then that perhaps the third prince and concubine Jian didn't have any intention to act recklessly. It turned out to be such an erroneous thought. If he really believed the folk song and the words of the fake monks today and had a misunderstanding towards Jing Wang, what would he have done to Jing Wang? It was a fact that he had started to doubt Jing Wang. Towards this, the emperor felt both angry and ashamed. He couldn't blame himself from almost falling into the trap, so the emperor could only vent his fury on the two princes who plotted all of this, but mainly on the third prince. The second prince was already rendered useless. The emperor didn't want to rashly punish the rest of his grown-up sons right now. Therefore, he also did the same to the third prince as he did to the second prince, stripped him of his official posts. However, the third prince was more fortunate than the second prince. Mu Tianzhao received a completely disgraced marquis position. Mu Tianming still kept the rank of an imperial prince. He wasn't hit in the face like that, yet it wasn't really much better. Jing Wang's hand was injured. So, the emperor ordered the imperial guards to punish the third prince and sixth prince with 100 paddles individually. The emperor watched the proceeding himself to prevent people from going soft on them. Following this, the sixth prince was to be sent to confinement, while the third prince was told not to come to court anymore from then on. Instead, he had to go to the imperial study and attend school with his two younger brothers, the seventh and the eighth princes. And this was the punishment regarding the fake monks only. If investigations later showed that the folk song business was also a plot by the third prince, the emperor would have let the third prince weigh the consequences himself. There was no precedence of any of the princes being punished with the paddles before, so the scene of the third prince and the sixth prince receiving corporal punishment was very spectacular. The emperor ordered the imperial guards to carry out the punishment right inside Ganking Palace. The two princes were made to take off their pants in front of the crowd. They were pressed on the benches to receive their beatings. The sixth prince endured and didn't make any noise of pain, while the third prince would let out a miserable scream with every hit, his voice traveling to the side hall. Inside the crystal bottle, Li Yu listened in contentment. The emperor was making a grandiose gesture here, punishing the third prince and sixth prince for their wrongs towards Jing Wang. Li Yu also felt like his hatred was avenged. Because he was worried about Jing Wang, Li Yu didn't bother entering the system even after he changed back into a fish. He recalled that when he was causing a commotion in Ganking Palace, he seemed to have heard a notification from the system. Who knows how the missions were going, but he had decided to wait for Jing Wang to wake up first before he dealt with the missions. Not long after, the third prince's creepy shrieks eventually woke up Jing Wang. As soon as Jing Wang opened his eyes, he saw the small carp inside the crystal bottle peering at him. Jing Wang, did he not have enough time to absorb essence and end up transforming back? There's ample time. No need to rush. Jing Wang smiled. Knowing that Xiaoyu was worried about him, he also wanted to give Xiaoyu some comfort. He was just about to stroke the fish, but unexpectedly, before he had a chance to extend his hand, the carp promptly stretched out its tail and directly entered the meditative state. Jing Wang. Li Yu, the tyrant master, finally woke up. Li Yu impatiently entered the system to check the missions. He discovered the Become a Koi side quest that he had been setting aside had been updated. End chapter.